In this video, we will discuss about discrete time Fourier transform. This is a different transform. This is another type of transform, Fourier transform for discrete time signals. In the second unit, we discussed continuous time Fourier transform, the Fourier transform tool which we use to find the frequency spectrum for continuous time signals. Now we'll move on to discrete time signals. So this is the DTFT pair. The DTFT pair. In continuous time Fourier transform, we studied about the Fourier transform pair, right? The Fourier transform pair. That is x of t and x of t and x of omega. This is for the continuous time Fourier transform. Continuous time Fourier transform. Now discrete time Fourier transform. The discrete time Fourier transform is expressed as x of e power j omega, x of e power j omega. This is also a function of omega, but I'm just representing it in a different form, e power j omega, just to differentiate it from the continuous time Fourier transform pair. Both are functions of omega. To differentiate the DTFT from the continuous time Fourier transform, I am representing it as x of e power j omega. Now that is equal to Fourier transform of x of n. It is the Fourier transform of the discrete time signal. X of n is the discrete time signal. Now how is it defined? It is defined as, since it is discrete time, instead of integration we'll have summation. Summation n is equal to minus infinite to plus infinite x of n e power minus j omega n, right? X of n e power minus j omega n. Now in some textbooks, instead of this omega, they'll use this kind of omega, right? For discrete time Fourier transform. Both are equally correct. You can use either of the notation. You can use either small omega or capital omega, doesn't matter. Then this is the Fourier transform of the discrete time signal x of n. The Fourier transform of the discrete time signal x of n is denoted by x of e power j omega, x of e power j omega, and it is equal to summation minus infinite to plus infinite x of n e power minus j omega n. If you look at this definition, it is very similar to the continuous time Fourier transform. So what is the formula for continuous time Fourier transform? X of omega equals to integration minus infinite to infinite x of t e power minus j omega t dt, right? This is for the continuous time Fourier transform. Since now we are only concerned about the discrete time signals, instead of x of t I have x of n, instead of j omega t I have j omega n, and the integration is now changed to summation. A summation minus infinite to plus infinite. That is the only difference, right? That is the forward Fourier transform, or the forward discrete time Fourier transform. Now the inverse Fourier transform, that is x of n, the time domain signal x of n, is obtained by taking inverse Fourier transform, or the inverse DTFT, or the inverse discrete time Fourier transform for x of e power j omega. We take the inverse of x of e power j omega. That is equal to 1 by 2 pi integration minus pi to pi. Look here, this is not minus infinite to plus infinite, it is minus pi to pi. So it is 1 by 2 pi integration minus pi to pi x of e power j omega into e power j omega n d omega, and the value of n here ranges from minus infinite to plus infinite. So if you actually remember, in continuous time Fourier transform, our time signal was continuous, and the Fourier transform was also continuous, right? Fourier transform was also continuous. Both of them were continuous. In discrete time Fourier transform, the time domain signal is discrete. But its Fourier transform, that is x of e power j omega, is still continuous. The Fourier transform is still continuous. Since the Fourier transform is continuous in nature, when I am operating on the Fourier transform here, I can consider integral. I don't have to consider summation as in the first case here. I can still consider integration. Then why am I considering only from minus pi to plus pi? Because the Fourier transform, or the discrete time Fourier transform, is periodic in nature. This is periodic in nature. That is from minus pi to pi, whatever the discrete time Fourier transform we have from minus pi to pi, the same exists from pi to 2 pi, or sorry, from pi to 3 pi, or the same exists from 0 to 2 pi, right? Whatever is there from minus pi to plus pi, the same will exist from pi to 3 pi or 0 to 2 pi. So what does it mean? It is periodic in nature. What is the period? The period is 2 pi. So the discrete time Fourier transform is periodic in nature with period 2 pi, right? So this is the Fourier transform pair for discrete time signals. X of e power j omega is equal to summation n is equals to minus infinite to plus infinite x of n e power minus j omega n. This is the analysis equation. And x of n, the inverse Fourier transform, x of n is equals to 1 by 2 pi integral minus pi to plus pi, or you can take integral 0 to 2 pi. You can consider anything. Okay, it doesn't have to be minus pi to plus pi. It can be 0 to 2 pi also. X of e power j omega n d omega. Now, what is the condition for existence of discrete time Fourier transform? For continuous time Fourier transform, we have studied the condition for existence. What are they? They are the Dirichlet conditions, right? It has to be absolutely integrable, and the number of maxima and number of minima must be finite, and the number of discontinuities must also be finite. That is for continuous time Fourier transforms. In the case of discrete time Fourier transform, there's only one condition for the existence of DTFT. Only one condition. And what is that condition? The given signal x of n must be absolutely summable. It must be absolutely summable. That is minus infinite to infinite summation mod x of n must be less than 0. Sorry, not 0, must be less than infinite. That is, it has to converge to some finite value. Right? In case of continuous time Fourier transform, we said the signal must be absolutely integrable. Now, since this is a discrete time Fourier transform, we are saying the signals must be absolutely summable. So this is the condition for existence of discrete time Fourier transform. And x of e power j omega, it is a complex function of omega, right? So I can write it in either rectangular form or polar form. If I consider the rectangular form, how can I write it? I can write it as xr of e power j omega plus jxi of e power j omega. So I'm actually, what am I doing? I am separating the real part and the imaginary part. Right? This is the real part, and xi of e power j omega is the imaginary part. Now, if I write the same x of e power j omega in polar form, I can express it in the form of magnitude spectrum as well as phase spectrum. So to express x of e power j omega in terms of magnitude spectrum and phase spectrum, I can write it in the form of polar form. So mod x of e power j omega into angle of x of e power j omega, right? This is the polar form. So what is the formula for mod x of e power j omega? It is nothing but square root of the real part of x of e power j omega square plus imaginary part of x of e power j omega square. So the real part and imaginary part are individually squared, added, and we take the square root of the whole term. That is how we obtain the magnitude spectrum. Now phase spectrum is nothing but tan inverse of imaginary part by real part, tan inverse of xi by xr. That is the phase spectrum. So if we compare DTFT and CTFT, this is the discrete time Fourier transform and this is the continuous time Fourier transform. So if we compare those two, what can we observe? The Fourier transform for the continuous time signals consists of a spectrum with a frequency range from minus infinite to plus infinite, right? For a continuous time signal, let us say if I considered my rectangular function, what is the Fourier transform of it? It is a sampling function, right? It is a sampling function and it continues from minus infinite to plus infinite, right? So for a rectangular function, the continuous time Fourier transform is a sampling function. So if you look at this function, for a continuous time signal, the spectrum has a frequency range of from minus infinite to plus infinite, right? That is what the first statement is. The Fourier transform of a continuous time signal has a spectrum with a frequency range from minus infinite to plus infinite. But for a discrete time signal, the Fourier transform is unique in the frequency range minus pi to plus pi, right? If you look at the discrete time signal that we'll see later in the coming slides, for a discrete time signal, the Fourier transform is unique in the range of minus pi to plus pi or equivalently 0 to 2 pi, which means the Fourier transform of a discrete time signal, the DTFT, is periodic with period 2 pi. Therefore, whatever frequency you take outside this interval of 0 to 2 pi, right, whatever frequency you take outside this interval, it has a corresponding frequency in this interval. Suppose I take 3 pi, my frequency 3 pi. So the corresponding frequency of 3 pi in this interval of 0 to 2 pi is, it is going to be pi, right? Because it is, the DTFT is periodic with period 2 pi. Whatever DTFT value I'll get at 3 pi, I'll get it at 3 pi minus 2 pi or 3 pi plus 2 pi at 5 pi. So the value of DTFT repeats every 2 pi radians per second, right? It repeats every 2 pi radians per second. So that is the first statement, our first comparison between DTFT and continuous time Fourier transform. Then, since the continuous time signal is continuous in time, the Fourier transform of continuous time signal involves integration. But for the discrete time signal, it involves summation. This we already discussed, right? Why summation? Why integration? For the continuous time signal, let me say for a sine signal, for a sine signal. At every instant of time, the continuous time signal is defined. It has some value. So I can consider integration. Integration means from one point to the other point, it involves every other value of time. Integration of t from minus infinite to plus infinite. I can consider integration. But in case of summation, in case of discrete time signals, my signal is going to be discrete in nature. That is, it will be defined at 0, it will be defined at 1, 2, and so on. In between 0 and 1, I do not have any definition for my discrete time signal. So if I consider integration here, I must define the signal in between my discrete time instants also. In between 0 and 1 also, I should have some definition for this signal. So since I don't have any definition in between 0 and 1 or 1 and 2 or 2 and 3 and so on, I cannot use integration. I can only use summation. Summation n is equals to minus infinite to plus infinite, right? And at each instant x of n, so x of 0, x of 1, x of 2, and so on. I don't have x of 1.1 or 1.3 or something like that, right? That is why we have summation for discrete time Fourier transform, right? That is the basic difference between discrete time Fourier transform and continuous time Fourier transform. The basic difference is continuous time has integration, discrete time has summation, and the other one, the continuous time Fourier transform, has a frequency range of minus infinite to infinite, but the discrete time Fourier transform, it is periodic with period 2 pi. So any value of the dtft, it repeats any value of the dtft repeats every 2 pi radians per second. For every 2 pi radians per second, the value of dtft repeats.